Hello everyone and welcome to what's called, I guess, just Project One information video. As it states on the weekly file, this is not necessarily an exercise. This is more or less just hoping to sort of prep you for thinking about Project One. What I've done here is sort of mocked up a scene and gone over some topics that I think you should think about as you sort of head into Project One. Project One is based on this idea of a sort of simple narrative, telling a simple story. Like I said, don't have anything in particular in terms of a story here, but a generic scene that can hopefully sort of convey both some technical ideas, but also some ideas on how to sort of organize your file. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through this and I'm going to talk about sort of different basically ideas. Let me make some room here in relation to how to organize. These are all concepts for the most part that you guys have dealt with. What you maybe haven't dealt with is sort of how to put them all together. Okay. So what I'm going to start with is over in the library. I have some movie clips, I have some graphics, and I'm basically going to show you sort of what I did to these in order to make what I did. So let's go over, and I'm just going to go in order. Here we have the bird movie clip. This is I brought over from our exercise. What's different is that I sort of filled him in. Okay, if you probably saw on your timeline, which is due today, once that bird gets on a background, it's sort of see-through. So all I did was sort of fill him in. I filled him in via just a simple paintbrush, and I'm going to zoom in here so you can see. I just gave him a solid color. So as we move through, that bird sort of has more, I guess, of a body. Secondly, I created another movie clip, and this is called Dude. And I'll zoom into his face. And Dude is just a stick figure here. And much like our bird movie clip, all I did was sort of change a simple thing. And what I changed was sort of his shifting eyes. I know I want to use him in a scene where the sun is going down, and you're going to sort of see that in a second. And maybe he's concerned. Maybe there's a portion of the story where something's about to happen. Who knows? Again, my project isn't necessarily a project, but more of an example of how to put things together. So this lasts for 50 frames. Now, since he's a movie clip, he's going to just sort of go over and over again. And you're going to see once we get to the movie that it just sort of loops. You don't really notice that it hops back to frame one. There's no glitch, there's no empty frames, nothing. He's just a guy that is concerned, and his eyes are going back and forth. Okay. Next thing I have is some simple graphics. These graphics have multiple layers, and they're basically a set of hills. These might be similar to the horizon line or whatever you made for the timeline. Next thing I have is a background, which is just the sky. It's just a blue background. This is basically just a box that's drawn. Looks like my tools are gone here. Let's get those up. I just drew a box with the rectangle tool, made it blue, and it's just going to be a static sky background. I want this to be a graphic because you'll see that I affect it with the properties once we get to the actual scene. Last thing I have is a sun. A yellow circle. What could get more simple? This is not all that different from the green and red ball that we made sort of in those first exercises. Okay, so I have very, very simple elements over here. You should be able to make all of these things. You've made bird. You've made a jumping jack guy, which is similar to this. I've even made it simpler. His eyes are moving. And what I want to do is sort of show you how I organize these things, and I want to touch on a few issues. So I'm going to pop over to my scene. This is already kind of cooked and done, but I'm going to show you sort of what I did. Now, first and foremost, let's talk about, a few of you have asked, and I think I touched on this on one of the first videos, about timing. And I write in the Project One info file, which you should read over, be very, very careful about timing. Probably the most common mistake in these first few projects is things fly by. They go way too fast. Remember, and we can go to modified document. I just want to show you this. Here we have our size of our stage, which I made this one 800 by 800, and down here we have our frame rate. Do not change this frame rate, just note what it is. This is 24 frames per second, okay? So if you have a bunch of stuff happening in the first 25 frames, you have someone walking across and starting to do a jumping jack, that is way too fast, okay? I've extended this scene out to 150 frames, which is approximately 6 seconds, and that's, you know, a good chunk of time to sort of convey something that's going on, okay? Let's start by looking at my organization over here. I have this sort of in order. Remember, our layers are sort of a hierarchy, okay? They live over here in a way that sort of creates what's behind what's on top of what. You'll see that dude is on top, and dude is on top of everything here. Sky is in the background. Next thing I have is sun, because sun's going to sort of come up over the horizon. Then I have the bird, which is going to come in. I have the hills background, and I have dude. Okay, you'll notice that all of these things going on the frames right here, this is all a motion tween. Okay, so I have everything happening to each of these things over a period of 150 frames. Now, I'm going to quickly show you sort of the end product, and then we're going to back up and sort of see how this was all done. Again, I'm just making sort of a simple scene, so I'm going to test this movie and animate. Watch it real quick. We'll watch it again. Sun comes up. We zoom in. A bird flies by. The sky darkens. Okay. Now, I'm sort of thinking about this in an almost cinematic way. This might be a scene that's sort of setting up to something. He's concerned. The sun is going down. Something's happening. Who knows? Okay. But a lot of things are being sort of changed here. Okay. So let's take a look at what is happening. First and foremost, the sky. The sky is just a background. It is a graphic over here, and you'll note, and I'm going to click on this, that the sky basically has something attached to it. And what's attached to it is a sort of a brightness color effect. You guys worked with alpha over here. I worked with brightness, okay? And what I did was, and I'm going to sort of move ahead here, and we'll take a look. On the last frame of this tween, I clicked on the actual graphic on the stage here, and I cranked the brightness way down. Okay, so it's basically making this thing considerably darker. Okay, so we start at that light blue of the original graphic, and then as we move through the tween, and all I did was click on that last frame and made that brightness considerably less. You'll see here at the first one it's at 0%. Okay, that's just kind of normal. It's at its baseline, I guess we would call it. And when I get up here and I click on it, you'll see that it's at -84. So that thing doesn't move. It simply sort of takes on the property of brightness, which is just making it darker. We're creating night times. Okay. Second, same thing with the sun. The sun goes up and the sun comes down. The only difference between this and the sky is we actually have a motion tween. I affected the path. You'll sort of see here. I have a path that I've sort of moved. We did that with your movie clip or your bird. So pretty straightforward. Okay, it has sort of a start and it has a start, it has an end. I also affected its brightness. You'll sort of see over here that it sort of goes from 0, its baseline, to, let's see where it ends at. You gotta click on it to see, -69. Okay. So the idea is that we're sort of creating a simple kind of, indication of nighttime. Okay. Next, we have the bird. Not much going on here. This is very similar to what happened in the movie clip and timeline, which you're working on. We just have the bird flying across. I created some space by putting the bird behind dude. But if we sort of see here, maybe they intersect, I can't remember. I guess it's behind dude, behind the hills, so that we sort of have that thing given some space. You'll see hills is on top here. I guess if the sun interacted with the bird, they might interact in a different way, but they don't interact. So pretty straightforward. Remember that a movie clip doesn't play. It only plays the first frame, so we don't see him flying. Next, and these are a little bit different, and I guess, I don't know if we've done this. We did it a little bit with the bird. The hills background and the dude are the things that we kind of zoom in on, okay? And all I've done, basically, and we'll sort of look at the hills background here, and we will scroll over. I've scaled the hill's background up, okay, meaning that here they are considerably larger. So with my tools went away. I want to get my tools up. Sorry. What I did was clicked on the last keyframe. I created a motion tween, and I simply used the scaling tool, which is right here, the free transform tool, and scaled those up. I scaled them up as well as scaling the dude movie clip up. What this does, and you'll sort of see this happening, is simply makes them look larger. Okay, when we make the SWIFT, and it sort of crops these edges off and we don't see sort of this gray area over here, we get the illusion that we're zooming in. This is a very, cinematic version of this thing. I believe I even made the sun a little bit bigger to sort of give the indication that we're sort of moving into something, okay? So, very, very simple things, but sort of put together in a way that took up a good amount of time, and I'm not saying that so that you sort of create these, simple 15-second scenes that last half your movie. But people, I think, get intimidated a little bit on the 30 seconds here at first. In movies, in animations, a scene might be set, and you might need 5 or 6 seconds to set that scene. What are we indicating here? We're indicating this guy is nervous. We're indicating the sun is going down. And I wouldn't say that this scene is taking up too much time or not enough. I think it's about right, 5 seconds. If you look at the examples, both the examples that I gave you both last week, and I put a new example up this week, they have 5, 10 scenes that sort of indicate the progression of this narrative. It's a simple narrative. In the first movie, which I'll, please go back and watch. We have sort of a narrative that states, why are we trying to sort of outdo each other all the time? I think would be the moral of that story. And the second one, the one I posted this week, is sort of a simple transformation. If you break down what's happening in each of those, I think they're very good examples, and they're fairly complicated. I don't think most of us wouldn't be able to sort of deduce technically what's happening. Okay, so email me with any questions. Pay attention to your timing. I can't stress that enough. Do the math. I have 150 frames here. I've taken up approximately 6 seconds. Maybe I'm going to make a new scene over here that's going to be, another 6 seconds. Maybe I have another long scene that's 10 seconds and an ending scene that's 7, 8 seconds, and there you are at your 30 seconds. Please pay attention to this. This is a requirement of the project. Please email me with any questions. Send me your FLA file if you're having trouble doing something. Don't send me something that's super incomplete in terms of something you want to do. I would rather you say, hey, I've gotten this far, and the next step I've sort of hit a brick wall, and I know what I want to do after I sort of get past that brick wall, but right now I'm kind of stuck on this moment. Send me those files. Again, this is all you have to do this week. This is not an exercise. This is simply just showing you something that I think might be useful. Good luck with Project Ones. I said to a student who came into my face-to-face office hours yesterday, this is unlike maybe some other art classes. This class, we really need kind of a lot of technical skill under our belt here at First. We're on week 6. I think we have that technical skill and are able to make something. So I look forward to seeing what you guys do in this coming week. And again, email me with any questions.